Things you probably remember if you grew up gaming in the late 90s and early 2000s. Split screen gaming. I'm considered a mid-90s baby. And yeah, there was SegaNet on the Dreamcast, and even PS2 Online, and eventually Xbox Live when I was a kid. But it wasn't as commonplace as it was on PS3 and 360, and definitely not like it is now. You want to play with some friends? You better find a way over to their house, and you might want to bring your own controller too, because they most likely gave you one with a turbo button. We all know those third-party controllers ain't it. Third-party controllers. I'm talking about Mad Catz, Pelican, Intech, and some that didn't even have a brand attached to them. I definitely had a few because they looked cool as hell or had characters that I liked, like Spider-Man or even SpongeBob. With the exception of Nintendo GameCube, I don't think any other 6th gen console had a first-party wireless controller, so third-party was the only option. I referenced the turbo button earlier, and most third-party controllers had that and many other weird buttons that never did work for me. Aside from your average-ish looking controller, there's some really outlandish ones too, like the Gamester, and this one from Cool Gear that had a screen on it. Memory cards. Most consoles required memory cards with the exception of the Xbox and Nintendo's cartridge-based systems like the Nintendo 64. It wasn't until the PS3 that Sony finally went with an internal hard drive. Even the PSP used Sony's proprietary memory stick, which was expensive as hell back in the day. Sega's Dreamcast had what was called a virtual memory unit, and this was more than just a memory card. When plugged into a controller, it almost acted like a second screen for some games, displaying a map or your inventory, and other times just the game's logo. When not plugged in, the VMU could be used as a standalone handheld to play mini games, transfer data from one VMU to another by connecting them together, or even playing games against friends. And shout out to anyone that had this Kill Bill ass looking memory card for the PS2 back in the day. Cheat code books and Game Shark. Back in the day, I know I sound like an old head. The book fair would come around where you could go to any store that sold books and get what was like the Bible for cheat codes. You had to go through the table of contents, find your console, find your game in alphabetical order. You want cheats for a WWE game on Xbox? Flip back to like page 300 something, put the codes in, and you'd be set. Game Shark, from what I can remember, made it a little bit easier with each Game Shark disc being made specifically for that console. All you did was pop in the Game Shark disc, select your game, what cheats you wanted. Once that was done, you would eject the disc, put in the game you loaded the cheats for, and that was it. My cousin had one and used it more than I ever did. I had it for like a week and I don't know where the hell it went. Plastic peripherals. Looking back, it feels like the 6th and 7th console generation was a time where everybody and their mama had a damn peripheral. You want to play golf? Here's this complex ass contraption. Want to ride a skateboard? Tony Hawk's Rides got you. It's not going to be accurate, but they got you. You want to sing? You want to play guitar? Fuck it. Have a whole band banging on plastic instruments. Rock Band and Guitar Hero both got you. And that's just scraping the surface. Let's not forget about steering wheels, some of the full set of pedals and a stick shift, all the dance pads you could ever imagine, and more light guns than your local doomsday prepper could ever dream of. And then there's the Wii. Does anyone else remember HSN or QVC selling Wii bundles back in the day? You get a Wii, an extra controller, and a ton of items to put the Wiimote in. You can stick your Wiimote to damn near anything. Boxing gloves, tennis rackets, guns, hell, even a baby if you're playing one of the Cookie Mama spin-offs. And once again, that's not even scratching the surface of what was offered for the Wii. Best sellers. GameCube had a Player's Choice, which was just a yellow label that said Player's Choice across the top. PlayStation has maybe, I don't do physical games anymore. Greatest Hits, which is a red label across the top. The case itself was still black until PS3 when they started doing a red case along with a red label across the top. Xbox had Platinum Hits, which just looked hella cool with the platinum labels and even a silver case to go along with it. Games that were considered a bestseller usually reached a certain criteria with a certain amount of time and a certain amount of units sold. These games were typically cheaper and were an updated version, meaning that there were some bug fixes. And that's it for this one. There will be a couple more in the series in the near future. What other gaming things do you remember growing up? Let me know.